Previously.
So there we are. I'll put a chain on it and see what it makes. So can you tell us what we're doing here? Sing the song? Right, time lapse. So the 900 engine and gearbox setup is actually in the car backwards. So this is cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4, timing chain, crank pulley, and this is where the bulkhead is. Front of the car is that way. So the way it works on these is that engine runs this way, flywheel's on the back. Behind this cover, you've got your input shaft. Behind this cover, which is the primary cover, you have chain drive down to the bottom of the gearbox. Triplex chain, so 3 chains in a row. Then gearbox input. Gearbox runs along the bottom of the engine. It actually forms, the top half of the gearbox forms the engine sump for engine oil, but they do not share oil. And then out the back of the box, you've got your diff, which looks like a regular diff. And then your your output drive shafts each side to each wheel. It's cool. It's a pretty compact engine setup, so you can pull the engine and box out pretty easily. What also is pretty cool is that behind here is your clutch. You do not need to separate the engine and box to change the clutch. You literally pull this cover off, compress the clutch under foot pedal, lock the clutch compressed, pull out your input shaft, couple of bolts, clutch is out. Half-hour job, nice and easy. This is going on a bit now. It may be a 10-minute video to you, but this is several weeks to me. I'm not going to video too much. Basically, I checked the timing. There is no... it's bang on. It's bang on. So it is definitely not going to pick up any power with just a chain. No idea why my 9000, which again was at 15mm tensioner extension, same as the 900, 4mm beyond what Saab said changed them at. Why was the 9000 so absolutely... Well, it was so far out of timing. I fail to believe it was put together out of time. Anyway, chuck this back together, fit it in the bay, dyno it. It'll probably pick up nothing. And then tune it a bit. Make 230 horsepower, yes! Engine's going back in the bay. Let me just show you what I've done. Top suspension arm bushes, 2 each side. I've replaced them, they're new. That boot was destroyed, put a new one on it. And also the tripod bearing's a bit mangled, so I put a new one of them on. That one I've not touched. Gearbox mount came off in 2 bits, so I put a new one of them on. Giving it all a bit of a wipe down. Diff cover, I've replaced for a steel one. That's on there nice and tight. New belts, new chain, etc, etc. Let's chuck it in the bay. Gear linkage. I'm not willing to talk right now. So I've got a new camera, like movable mount. Let's see how it works. Saab 900 engine, back out of the car. Absolute ball ache. Basically not picking up any oil. There's an oil pump. The oil pump basically has to come off to do the timing chain. And there's like an O-ring fit pipe on the back. I don't think I've got that in correctly. I've taken it apart. I definitely didn't have it in correctly. I've just fitted it. I've had to bend the pipe back a bit because it's pushed it back into the engine. Put a new O-ring on it. Didn't previously because I didn't think I had one, but I actually do. Fit a new O-ring to it. Fitted it up. I've just put about 4 bolts in, nipped them up, and chucked in the crank pulley. What I'm going to do now is the oil filter housing is off. I'm literally going to hotwire the starter so it turns over. It may fall off. It may be an absolute disaster. But if oil squirts out the side of the engine, then I know the pump is working. And I know the O-ring is sealed. So my little Chinese booster pack. Well, but not overly This is why I don't YouTube everything. Hopefully that's not touching the starter. It's not picked anything up yet. To be continued. I've destroyed the inner tripod bearing, so I've got to get it off. This is a 32, that's a 32 in there, this is a 32 socket. It's a crap fit because basically the socket's not very deep. I don't have a deep 32. I've used this plenty of times to get these off, but I've always did it with a bar. But I can't do that because it's in pieces. Just tried to gun it off there and it slipped. So I'm gonna make this a deeper socket. Try it. Yes! I'm a genius. It's all up and running. Let me summarise the work I have done. New timing chain and guide, new gearbox mount, powder coated the cam cover and coil pack, rewrapped the downpipe. What else have I done? New belts on the back, new thermostat, gearbox oil, engine oil and filter, new steel diff plate, new tripod bearing. Oh, well, I admit it was one I had laying around, but a healthier tripod bearing on the inner drive shaft. New CV gator on that as well. And yeah, it's all up and running and all back together. Now, because the timing wasn't off, it's not going to be any quicker. It doesn't feel any quicker, and it's not going to pick up any more power on the dyno. But with a bleed valve on it and a bit of tuning, it definitely will pick up a bit of power. But like people are saying in the comments, these gearboxes aren't up to much, so I won't be going mad. I've actually got a bit of a plan. I'm going to run a 0.8 bar actuator off waste, so wastegate pressure would be 0.8 bar. And then if you look down here, I have one of the elusive Saab extra switches, right? Normally you'd run that to fog light, something like that. Well, I'm going to run it to the brake input of the ECU, and then what happens there is that when I select it, it'll think the brakes are on. It won't allow me to run full boost pressure. It'll just run wastegate pressure, which would be 0.8 bar, so probably 185 horsepower, something like that. And then you press extra, and it'll run this full APC boost solenoid pressure, 1.2 bar, something like that. Which we'll see what it'll make. 230, 240 horse. I think that'd be pretty cool. It's more of a quirky thing than anything, but I think it'd be pretty cool. Anyway, so catch me next time where I'm going to be putting it on the dyno. I'll run it to see what it makes. It'll make the same again, if not less, maybe. And then I'll chuck the actuator on, do a bit of tuning, see what it makes then. Right, catch you next time. And I also fitted top suspension arm bushes, and I feel like I should say the reason as to why it's taken so long to get it all up and running again is that, of course, I went to Holland halfway through in the comma, which is no mean feat. So yeah, cut me some slack, yeah? Cheers.